When Jimmy Butler made his one and only finals, the lasting image is him slumped over, gave everything he had, and it wasn't enough. Ever since then, there's been one big question about Jimmy Butler.
Do you believe Jimmy Butler can be the best player on a championship team?
Initially, I said yes, but now it's no. But he was with Philly. He wasn't the main guy there. Obviously, he spent a little time with the Timberwolves. Couldn't get it done there. In Miami, couldn't get it done there. With the Bulls, couldn't get it done there. And this is young Jimmy. So I don't know if older Jimmy can do that.
And that's coming from one of his peers in the league, Patrick Beverley. But throughout history, there are those rare teams that break through without an MVP leading the way, like the 2004 Pistons. After all, Jimmy Butler has 6 40-point playoff games, is one of the most clutch players in the league. In Game 6 against Boston last year, he hit the dagger to cap a 47-point night against the #1 defense.
I think if they had another piece, not better than Jimmy Butler, but just somebody that can relieve the offensive pressure off of him, absolutely he could be the best player on the championship team.
So which one is it? Is Pat Bev right or is it T-Mac? I personally believe T-Mac. Of course Jimmy Butler is good enough to win one chip as the best player. But how is he ever going to do that on this mediocre Heat team? There's only one way to find out, and I will show the exact path to that chip in this video. But first, today's sponsor, AG1 by Athletic Greens. A lot of you guys know how seriously I take my health and my fitness. It is hard to find a more complete green supplement than this, and it tastes really good. Other green supplements I have tried, I literally have to choke it down. Athletic Greens has 75 vitamins and minerals that are whole food sourced, so it's not jam-packed with a bunch of synthetic stuff. And it's hard to find that in just my daily diet. Like normally one of my meals in the day, I'll have a salad. Sometimes I miss it. Most of the time I don't get everything that I need in that one salad. I've noticed that it boosts my energy and my mental clarity. I need less caffeine throughout the day. It also helps me recover quicker from day to day. Also, I'm somebody who's had issues with my gut and my digestion, but AG1 promotes good gut health. I've heard of Athletic Greens from a bunch of people that I trust, and I wanted to bring them on as a sponsor just to try them and see if you guys are interested in the same stuff as me, which is like health, fitness, and just feeling good. So go to athleticgreens.com/amhoops to try it out. Also support the channel, and if you do that, you get a year's free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. And I actually got a blood panel done to check my testosterone, and the doctor was like, oh, you're deficient in vitamin D3, so this is perfect. You also get travel packs of AG1, so you can give them out to your friends or family or just use them on the go. athleticgreens.com/amhoops for all that. Thanks so much to Athletic Greens. Jimmy has always been one of the most difficult people to play with and to coach. He was kicked out of his house at 13 years old, but was lucky enough to get taken in by a friend's family. Didn't play AAU as a kid, wasn't famous in high school, so his attitude is a lot different than some of these other guys who have been stars their whole lives. One time after a bad loss as a Bull, he ripped his teammates. I want to play with guys that care, that want to win games. I don't think that's happening right now. I really don't. His attitude was so harsh, the Bulls traded him to Minnesota, where it got worse. He was disgusted by how non-competitive his young teammates were in the playoffs. Jimmy demanded a trade, and when they couldn't find one, he went to practice and embarrassed a young Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. He beat them with a bench unit and called them soft to their face. But on the Heat, even like blue-collar coach Eric Spoelstra gets the attitude. Spo called Jimmy crazy during a timeout, could be seen saying, "What do you want me to do, fight you?" So Jimmy's attitude can be too much, but it's what makes you root for him to actually succeed. He hates the spoiled generation who can care more about their outfits than winning games. But the situation he is in is not great right now. The Heat got the top seed last year with 53 wins, which is usually like the 3rd or 4th seed, so people called them one of the weakest 1 seeds in years, which was false, by the way, and they proved that by making it 1 shot away from the finals. Then in the offseason, they lost PJ Tucker, didn't do a whole lot to improve, so experts predicted that they would take a step back. This time the experts were right. So far, the Heat have dropped more games than they've won. They just lost to the Pistons by 20 at home. Now, Jimmy was out that game, but what does that say about his teammates? I don't want to go in depth on like every single one of them. Obviously, a guy like Bam Adebayo is really good, but clearly it's not good enough. With Jimmy, the Heat offense ranks number 2 in the league behind only the Celtics. Without Jimmy this year, they fall to dead last, below the horrible Hornets. Then there's the three-point shooting. Did you know the Heat were actually the best three-point shooting team last year? Yeah, and it was so important they closed the season 32-2 when they shot over 40%. This year, they are all the way down to 23rd in the league. That is a huge drop-off. Now, their biggest problem, I think, is injuries right now, but a smart guy on Reddit named King of Pants showed why they're screwed even if they're healthy. Losing PJ Tucker ruined their defense. Now, Bam and Jimmy have to take the toughest assignments, and good teams make them pay. So, Jimmy's got Jason Tatum, Bam has to guard Al Horford as the center, so Jaylen Brown just picks apart Tyler Hero. Or if Jimmy's guarding Devin Booker, Bam's got DeAndre Ayton, so Mikal Bridges scores on Caleb Martin. And in the playoffs, that would be CP3. So the Heat need a replacement for PJ Tucker like a Jay Crowder who's out there to get back to where they were last year. But even that wasn't good enough. So to find out if Jimmy Butler can win a title, the easiest path is just to trade him. And he would be a perfect fit for those teams that feel like they're one player away. Like, imagine Jimmy Butler on the Cavaliers, or on the Grizzlies, or on the Mavericks, or on the Kings. That would be so much fun, even though they probably wouldn't win a chip. There are so many teams out there who Jimmy Butler would make a contender. Now, I'm not saying that he's got a ton of trade value. Obviously not. They're not going to get like a gigantic haul back for a guy who's 33 years old. But it would be a solid way to hit the reset button, which would be a huge, dumb overreaction to what's going on. The Heat have 2 of the most dangerous things in the NBA. The first one is their market. They are literally one of 3 cities that can attract big names. LA, New York, Miami. That is it. Because of that, they could be elite any given offseason. The second thing is an NBA legend, Pat Riley. Now, he's made some famous mistakes. Obviously, no GM is perfect. But without him, they're a joke franchise. He made big trades for Alonzo Mourning, Penny Hardaway, Shaq for the first period of Heat greatness. As far as signings, he got LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Jimmy Butler. And in the draft, he chose Dwayne Wade, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. So if there's any team that I trust to get out of a mess, it's the Miami Heat, and it's just a matter of time because Pat Riley always has a plan. Like after the 2020 finals, just like now, Jimmy Butler wasn't good enough to beat LeBron and AD, so they tried to get him elite help. If you remember, that was the summer of Giannis, and the Heat had a plan. The 2 teams that were the biggest threats to get Giannis were the Heat and the Raptors, and the Heat had set aside all this cap space, right? But obviously, Giannis did not choose them, and they ran it back with mostly the same team. Then last offseason, they almost made the finals, and wanted were in rumors for both Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant, but they swung and missed on both. If you look all the way through Heat history, they win chips by bringing in elite players with the guys they drafted. So what is next? Their potential targets are KD, Joel Embiid, Bradley Beal, James Harden, and Zach LaVine in a trade, plus Kyrie in free agency. Those top ones I have highlighted are the major options that I think would really move the needle. Then below that, you've got guys like DeMar DeRozan for pure offense, and the rest of these names are kind of starter level talent that would make them deeper and would either add defense or scoring. A national reporter just said that the only Heat players that are off limits are Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo in a trade. That means a package of like Tyler Hero, Max Strus, whoever else, and picks is realistic. The Heat can win a title with Jimmy Butler as their best player. Things don't look great right now, but by next season, Jimmy Butler could prove all the haters wrong. Speaking of haters, Trae Young's got a lot of haters, especially after this last story about him disrespecting his coach. But the crazy thing is, a case can be made. None of this is Trae Young's fault at all. Check it out.